close till I get up. Time is barely on our side. I don't wanna waste what's left.
On our second episode, and as promised, we're going to have an amazing guest with us. In fact, they've been so kind to host us today, and we firstly just want to say shukran to Anisah and Monique for having
The
us.
groom walked down the aisle.
The groom finally, we have the groom on the pedestal in fact. So, as you guys know, we are joined by Anisah Karriem and our lovely husband Monique, two of our very good friends, and we're here to share Anisah's story today. But at the same breath, we're also here to share Monique's journey alongside with Anisah. So, to give you a recap, Anisah is recently cleared of cancer, alhamdulillah. Yes, she is a cancer survivor. She is a full-time mother, full-time wife, and she's a full-time businesswoman, alhamdulillah. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant her strength and continue to keep her on a path of good health and success, and for her husband as well, to grant him patience, to obviously be, everything and the support that she needs, because we all know that we need someone in the end to just keep us going. Anyways, we're honored here to share the story, so let's get into it. Anisah,
Why me?
this is about you. Did you forget this is about you? Hey, growing up, did you ever feel that, there was a line drawn? From what I understand, or from what I've learned, I'm from a colored but an Indian upbringing also. So was there any lines drawn for you, especially since you're female? Expectations because you're a girl. I understand that, you come from a house where majority are daughters. I know for myself, when I was, because I'm the eldest, there was a certain expectation. And because I'm a boy, it's slightly different as for a girl. There's certain things that males can get away with, and there's certain things that never be allowed for a female, especially with the upbringing that we come from. What do you have to elaborate on your life, or was there any lines drawn for you?
Definitely lines drawn. I think, like you mentioned, I'm nicely when I come to go study immediately, gap in between the curfews, the now late coming home, the wearing your hijab, making your salah, and then just like forwarding and going according to that. So literally, like you said, it now that line, I basically live in that box of that line throughout my entire life. I mean, here and there, you kind of meet different people on your path and you spiral out, but you always brought back into that sort of box. Yeah, your roots are always grounding. Even as an adult, my mom says you're not an adult until your parents do. So technically, but I mean, like, as a married woman, I build that for our child now. But we also love that line. You fall out of it and you just come back into it. So yes, definitely, like growing up with wanting to feel it, you automatically.
I always tell you, Anisah, how I remember you, or how I know you, and even I think I've even told you that I always remember this girl with a sister at school, and she was one of the only people that always had a scarf on. And so we attended the same school. She was a lot of years after me, but there was a certain dress code at our school. They were very strict with dress code, and even though the females had to wear, a skirt in summer, there was no two ways about it. You could not wear pants. You could not. It was skirt summer, you wear your pants in winter. But even with that, there was never a time that I saw Anisah without a scarf. I can literally remember, you're the girl with a scarf, with a twin sister. That's it. So, I think also with our schooling, it shaped us a lot with regards to, the line that we kind of. As for me, I know that over the years, my perspective changed. And for you, I also would like to know, how did your perspective change concerning, do you follow the line, or do you color outside of it? And how did you manage to do it and navigate through life? Because, it's so difficult sometimes for us to conform those strict, and I always like say, as a club nonsense what the old men apart. But they had their wisdom and their reason for it. But we also have to learn our own way. And just like for you, it's different to me, because you also have a household where you come from quite a few siblings, and you're not the eldest. So how was it for you compared to maybe what it was for her? I'd like both your perspectives on, you had to start drawing outside the lines, or did you stay within the lines as you grew?
I think, because like I mentioned, so my daddy, he was it, but not too strict. So they were, but my mom, she again comes from a family where you need to stay in that line. With my daddy, I grew up, no, if you want to travel on your own, you can go. And so there was a balance of like, okay, there's mommy, there's daddy, like, would you listen? But obviously you get because he's the, like the king of that.
Yeah.
It was difficult, like you just mentioned now about me wearing the hijab in school. I wasn't forced upon it by my parents
Yes.
or anything, but because of my upbringing, it was made it a little bit easier. But it was difficult because you were always like sidelined. You don't everyone include you because you look a certain way. Or you speak a certain way, so you're not included. So that for me was a little difficult. Still keep on that path, but I think I just pushed through. Like even like in today, I pushed through, and it comes back to like being in that line. I think I did a balance of like what mom said and what my dad said. I did what my mommy said in keeping in that line, but I also did what my daddy said because I wanted to filter out a little and see how different the world is, and not just staying on that one path, but still like having that balance of, you need to be responsible if they're going to give you the 1,000 rand and they say you need to spend it, but it needs to last you. Then I took that opportunity and you know what, I'm going to keep on that line, but I'm going to go off. But like I said, it was a balance of, it was hard, it was tough, it still is. Alhamdulillah, like I pushed through.
Coming from a diverse background, obviously you need to consider your environment and then your home life. And sort of nature versus nurture perspective.
I think it was, and I'm sure you can relate to the same.
Of course, I'm thinking in my mind like,
there's
so many similarities. They want you to go out, but they also want to keep you back.
But I'm so glad my daddy has given me or because we 4 girls, given us the opportunity not to say, you know what, no, you're not going to go out, you're not going to hang around boys or other friends with groups. It's like, go. You feel, yes, you know what we taught you, so you know what's wrong. If there's a group of girls and boys and there's drugs in front, no.
Exactly.
Yeah, you have to decide.
Because they know what they went through.
Yes.
So you don't obviously want the same conformity for your own children.
Yeah.
So you like kind of let go a little bit, but within the bounds.
Everything she said.
And I don't know. It's just that, you mentioned obviously that, your father was that kind of go-to person. And I know my father was strict with, firstly because I'm the eldest, but also because, he's the eldest. So that, law that was laid upon him, because he was like, very, like, he was kind of sergeant-y in a way, but he was also very, like, easygoing. My father was very easygoing, to be honest. But for me personally, and I think maybe for yourself also, our mothers were different with us. Like you said, you had the option of, going to explore and making the choice, do I want to do this or not? And I was saying in our first episode, my cousins, they had a lot of room for play, so to say, where they were allowed to do that. Like, go out there and you've been taught what you've been taught, you decide what you want to do, but be ready for the consequences of it. Whereas for me, I felt like, I do the mistake, man. I don't know how it's for you.
I think in my household as well, you learn different things from your parents.
Yeah.
But for me, my mother as well was the one that do this, should I not? She wasn't strict on the house, but she taught us a lot.
Of course.
I think what you mentioned earlier, staying on the line, she was the one that reminded us, both parents, but my mother more.
It's too late, you're in trouble already.
Yeah.
Because you should have been inside already. I know that, we love playing soccer in the road, and I knew, Boeta, as I saw him begin rooi raak,
You must be inside.
But anders is it nag for you. If they caught you in trouble already, there was no getting away from it. So, I don't know, for you, obviously, with having a child, you start to do things differently. So, how do you, from where, or what your upbringing is, differ with what you guys are doing now, raising your child? Because it's different, and it's challenging, sure, because I mean, I've been there a couple of times. And it gets easier somewhat, because you kind of, okay, so this one's like this, that one acts like that. Because then a child is never the same.
Yeah.
No child is the same, and no single parent is the same with their different children as they, come along. So how do you think, you adjust this time maybe, and with your upbringing to, raising a child now in your time? Because I know it's not easy.
I think we both grew up, obviously up in different households. So you just need to find the right way to what's the word I'm looking for? I'm very nervous with this. To parent, yes. I think obviously I have my ways as a parent, and Lisa has her ways as a parent. And I think what works for us is that we communicate. I think in the beginning it was quite difficult because
course,
we
of
both
course.
want to be parents, we both
Yes.
individuals. We need to find the balance of how do we upbring him in the right way.
Yeah,
I think finding the balance, doing the right thing.
Yeah.
As a dad, I'm sure you can vouch for this. If your child is naughty, you just want to, but then you realize you can't always do that. I think her parenting style is more of that gentle parenting, speaking, putting in a naughty corner where I'm like, Komisa.
But
I think there's a
that's
balance
crazy
between the two
how
of us.
different you guys are. Lisa can tell you, she tries. And she's literally checked how far she can push. And she doesn't stop, eh? She doesn't stop. And I think that with her, I've needed to tell myself, or reconvince myself, brother, you've done this now for so long. You can do this with this one also. She's just testing you more. But
She might as well.
but I don't know. But this is the thing. As a child, I wasn't rebellious. I was probably like the most chill child, like at my parents' age. It was my baby brother that was the problem. Like I remember my mother tying him up to a chair because he was wild. He's my mommy's favorite today, but texted my mother, really.
When I say to you that she's not afraid of, she is not afraid of anything.
Of nothing.
Actually take her by a chase sometimes to play with, and she will stand and look you dead in the eye.
But it just shows you like how the kids today, like they're stronger than what
Yes, they are.
And
They
you know
are.
that you can show them into that big
The
world.
resilience,
Yeah.
the resilience is insane. And the questions that come, and you have to be so open-minded, like, did I ask my parents that? Did I do that? Like, can we have this conversation right now?
Exactly.
There's a lot of things that they want to know, but also you have to be open-minded at this point because, like, you don't want to push them away. Because if they don't come to you, they're going to go to an influence that is not going to guide them in the right direction. And that is something you don't want. I mean, my dad said to me one day, you will raise your children exactly the way I have raised you. And I said this to him the other day. And I said, I probably would, yes, but not the same way. Because we have to check in on our values and what we want for our children. And you have to be on the same page.
Most of the time, because you know that obviously you can't 100% agree all the time. No two people is going to 100% agree all the time.
But there's compromise.
But there is compromise, and I guess that's part of the journey. And for us to see, or for myself to see where you come from where you were to where you are. I know it's a short time, but I'm sure it feels for you like it's a lifetime already. You lose track of like the perspective of what time actually is, and enjoy the journey. And sometimes we're so focused on our end goals that we don't just sit and reflect and enjoy the process of how we're getting there. Yeah, so much forget to live in the moment. And I think for us more of a time to reflect and sit back and say, you know what, I can chase all those goals, but one day my kids are going to be big, and then I've completely forgotten about those moments that we had together. And I personally feel like I will do things. There's certain things I do every year with him, the same thing every year. It's for me to remember look how much you've grown from when we were here last, or when we did this the last time. And that's obviously part of the journey. And coloring outside the lines is not necessarily being rebellious, or we want to just do things differently, but it's about finding your own way in life. Just like you're finding your own life, being on a journey. We also have to we have to touch on your journey, and that is the one that you recently had, and that you're still carrying. Yes, you're on a better place right now, alhamdulillah. How did you respond when you first found out that what? Because people are ashamed, but we don't know what you're doing. And the only person that can really say that is not you is your partner's indeed, because he's been here, experienced it, not you. So how has that journey been for you? For both you guys can decide who wants to.
I know you think I've been speaking about the journey and everything.
I'm actually interested to know how it affected you because I've heard her story.
Yeah.
I mean, the day that she said to me, I'm a doctor, I was like, oh shit.
Yeah, because when she was first diagnosed, did you feel that you have to act a certain way now, or you have to be strong?
Yeah.
Because obviously it's your wife and she needs you now. So, how did you feel? How was your journey?
Mixed emotions.
Of course.
I think in the beginning when we found out that she has obviously the cancer, but the type of person I am, what I'm looking very organized, structured individual. So for me, when we found out, that was immediately okay. What's the next step?
Of course.
What do we do? I mean, you go through that emotions, but you also say, alhamdulillah, it's a blessing from Allah.
Of course.
And you see what is the next steps to take, obviously, to and remove the cancer. To your point, yes, there was a obviously you stick up as a husband, as a father, because you want
Yes,
to.
yes.
And there's a lot of emotions over there. So for me, initially, I kept my emotions aside. For me, it was just like, what is the plan? What's the way forward?
Yeah.
I see where I need to be.
Exactly.
I can deal with my shit afterwards.
Yeah, I think the emotional part I dealt on my own up until she was, I think, strong enough emotionally, physically, in order to, for me to lean on her shoulder as well. I think she needs to go through her journey, the emotional aspect, and obviously all the doctor appointments and all of those things. And she'll mention it that I was very calm, very relaxed. You know, all of those type of things. And I said, no, I mean, even the day that she went for surgery, like I honestly put my trust in, oh, you know what? It's not hard surgery, but it is a surgery. So there is cutting open and removing things like that. But I wasn't worried the fact that she might not survive that surgery. And I think going through the process, I'm going to go mixed in the journey. I think with all the testing, the biopsies, and those type of things, for me, I'm a logical person. I'm like, okay, it's the first stage of cancer. So it's not stage 2. It doesn't require chemo. There's a fix to the problem currently. So for me, that would make ease. Obviously, it's not my body. I didn't go through a part of me, so I don't feel that, but I do feel for. So yeah, and it was a journey. Lots of emotions. I mean, I cried once, twice, thrice.
Of course.
Yeah, I had my breakdown, but I mean, as a man, you break down at once and then you can survive
and
the
you
next
can-
year.
yeah,
You can carry
you can
on.
carry on.
I think I reached that point and then I just broke down. She was there to comfort me. But throughout the journey, alhamdulillah, she's cancer free and she's doing great things moving forward.
Yeah, she is.
So coming back to what he said about being calm, I can understand with you because your emotions were probably raging inside, and you need to just calm. It's like, how am I feeling like this? But it's just that. How did that impact you? Did that sort of pull you back to say, okay, I need to be grounded, or he's grounding me, or I needed to feel my emotions?
No, I think that actually that made me feel like, especially Dr. called us in. He already sort of knew because we got Dr. called in before, and we went in, and they gave us the news and all of those things. And on our way back, as we have this breathing technique, like smell the roses, that's after.
Love that.
And he did that, and alhamdulillah, and he was calm, and I looked at him, and then I got that sense of feeling.
It's
I
gonna
just
be
felt
okay.
it's fine. Yes, like you mentioned, I did stress in the moment, but I didn't go crazy. I still.
She said, alhamdulillah, then I was also at ease.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, you worry how is your partner going to react.
Yes,
Is it going to be a spiral, downward spiral?
Yeah, because you obviously need to prepare for that, you
Yeah.
know, just because you don't know.
Yeah. But she made it easy for me to be the way I was now.
Yeah,
I think it's because that's also how, and I mean, you both personally know my mom. That's how she taught us. Whatever comes your way, you say, alhamdulillah. You go through the emotions, but you still stand firm. He wasn't by my side, which I'm grateful he is. But if he wasn't, I think I would have still handled the situation because I've been through other things in life.
Yeah.
And I always remain calm. I would stress on the inside, and we know nobody's watching. But ultimately, I've always ever placed my trust in all. But I just made it better with him by my side. So I also remain now. And outside, people be like, but you don't look.
Yeah.
Like now, I'm supposed to look. I'm still me, and I'm not going to allow something to eat on me and take away the person that I am. So I'm still going to be out there and be what I'm supposed to be. Because it's like a flu. If you get the cold this morning and you feel, and you're going to lay in bed for 2 or 3 days, it's going to attack your body.
Yeah.
But if you're going to get up and go, it's going to push you through. And then the calm to that storm that we had, which I don't say it's actually a storm, it was a blessing. Because it's also grounded me and taught me a lesson after and appreciate
Life after cancer, like how have you redefined, you know, success? Because, you know, like you mentioned now, to get certain goals, I need to have a certain position or what.
I was always, or I'm still like a goal-driven person.
Of course.
I'm not going to get that certain job or do that certain thing. I'm just thinking like my main focus is behind on my health because without health, we're nothing. You know? And that taught me like a very big lesson. And if I don't have anything, it's okay. We don't focus too much on like farther term. Like I said, we live in the moment, and like I think my aim now from this lesson is trying to help others. Like that's our, as a couple, that's our main focus is trying to help others living families, especially those that's going through diagnosis.
Obviously, so for those who don't know, there was a recent event that Anisah and Munjib hosted, and it was in aid of another cancer patient, and alhamdulillah, we were present, and to see someone come from this ordeal or this journey and immediately try to jump in to help another person or someone else is incredible because we all feel like, you know, we want to be the hero in our own stories. But no, we don't always see how amazing it is to help someone else. And we can, even though we're helping, we don't see the light that shines on them. And this person wants to help me. There's someone that understands what I'm going through. Because yes, we can, empathize and we can, yes, I want to help you. But being on the receiving end must be another complete different journey. I mean, you obviously, you experienced it with your husband, with those that you love, and were there to support you. At the same time, also, I have to be patient with myself. Because obviously there's a certain stigma, like there's certain things that happen. Like, I don't know if it's just our culture, but as any survivor, or especially cancer, like, okay, yes, I'm cancer free now, so when are you going back to work? Or when are you going to start doing this again? How do you just place yourself at a level that is comfortable for you? Because I'm sure you've experienced it where, people are just like, okay, you're cancer free now. You need to move on, like, we need to get the ball rolling again. But how do you deal with it? Like, especially yourself, but even for you, like, because like for you, it's okay, I have to go to work and things. How do you guys just, set a pace where, okay, this is a level where we are okay, we just move at this pace now, and, we keep going from there. We can decide to increase or decrease as we move along. How did you
I
get
think,
to that point?
I think what Ashley mentioned, it's a blessing she got, and I think it reminded us, both of us as well, others that have seen a journey, what's important in life. And I think from day one, before we found out the cancer, as she's mentioned, I was instilled living the moment.
Yeah.
Yes, you can plan your years, but that's stressing life.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
And
a life that you don't even know you're going to reach.
Yeah. I think we both were like that, but I think we work well together with living in the moment.
Yeah.
Making sure that we capture the moments with us, with the little one, not chasing life. I what's the question?
I just don't know. This after adjustment.
After obviously the journey and everything, I think there was one day we had a conversation. I said, you're going to close the chapter on you, but it's not to say that your journey is done.
Yeah.
That's a very beautiful thing.
Yeah, so discussing like what's the next steps, and she came up that she wants to help the next person.
Yeah.
I mean, she had a lot of help from me, family, etc. But as you mentioned, there's people out there, and you also mentioned, that don't get the help, that might not have the family that can support and things like that. So I think that's where we can come in and assist.
Yeah.
We kind of do meaningful things.
Yes.
And not chase life. But I'm sure you want to add on.
From what I've noticed, a lot of, I don't want to say less fortunate, because they've been able to get the help. When you don't have all the information, it's very difficult to make informed decisions.
Yeah.
And there are people who get the short end of the stick, unfortunately. And I think for people who've been informed, who have the facilities to inform themselves, it's so much more beneficial for those who can't. And what you guys are doing together.
The small things as being able to get our son from school. It's like because 5 months ago when I was diagnosed, I didn't think I could do that. Like a lot of things went through my mind. I just started putting things in place like, am I going to go now? Or like you think of it, and I said, small things like us just going on the picnic. Or setting up our little garden for the summer. It's not the big stuff. I don't care about the I need to wear this certain shoes, or I must have this. I don't know when last we even bought ourselves something nice. And we don't care because we try to do the smaller things. It just matters to us, especially after the diagnosis. It taught me a lot. Like, just remember how humble we can be. I mean, I am going back to work, but wish that I could also have had maybe people that helped me in the moment when I was diagnosed, who tell me, this is what the journey is going to be about. But if I can be that person for the next one, of course, then whether it's like telling you this is what's going to come next, or I think just for us it's like living in the moment, being thankful to the Almighty, teaching our son that and have good order and and people and relationships. And we said that any negative noise around us, try to be a little bit hard sometimes, but we try to not.
I'm literally sitting there thinking, what else can I ask? Like, as I think, okay, I'm going to ask you this, and then you're answering, and I mean, I love that, conversation that we had. It ties so well into just firstly being natural, that you guys are able to share the information, because you are an inspiration to everybody else out there that's not even maybe dealing with the same, or they might be dealing with something completely different. But it's just a fact of, how perspective changes their life, how it brings them new perspective, it brings us new perspective personally. And, you mentioned living in the moment, and I don't know if Lisa's picked up now already. I'm also someone that is, okay, certain structure, but I need to achieve this idea, I need to do this, I need to do that, I need to do certain things, but it's because I'm very goal-driven, but I'm very laid back also. So I'm not going to, nag on her, you need to do this, we need to, like this morning for example, so she's been sick for the last couple of days, and I literally, I thought, I'm going to post this out, I think we just need to relax, we need to get better, and then we can worry about, dealing with this episode. And then I also can't do that because it's bugging me now, because I've already postponed, so I need to get it done. So at one point I'm like, I need to get this done, and then I thought, let's just do it, because tomorrow we don't know what, falls in front of us. In that perspective already, you've already changed my view in a way, because now I'm thinking, you know what, let's just do it.
Don't worry,
Don't worry,
don't
procrastinate. It's just,
we live in
whatever
acting
happens,
like that,
happens.
like you say, and I'm glad that we can be a source of that kind of positivity to another couple, that whatever you're going through, and loving at home, because something can be coming to knock on that door any second, you don't know when you're gonna have, so ride the wave.
Everything you've said has resonated with me so much, because like you said, it might not be an illness, but it's other aspects in your life that you can fit into it. We've gone through certain things, and I've become so much more grateful for the small things, and that is what you ultimately want.
No, you do, and it teaches us the big things that strikes upon us. It teaches us lessons that you must appreciate the small things. Like really, grateful. This is what I also said to you yesterday. I'm grateful that I can get to, and it might not be a big deal to other people, but it is a big deal to me. I'm grateful that I'm able to pack a lunchbox for my husband and our son. I'm grateful that they can get to have a meal at night, or get into a warm bed, and we love with all those things that the outside, whatever's happening on the outside. We just forget about it, and we love for, I mean, obviously we try to always involve people.
Yeah, that's good. And once again, I just want to elaborate and say, I can imagine. I think it's easier for you now to speak about it and be open about it. But I mean, maybe a couple of weeks ago, different or very sensitive conversation. And I was saying that I hope that Anisah doesn't cry, because I don't want to make her feel that, so recently we had an event where she spoke, and I need to walk out. I'm not going to go hug her now, because if I'm going to go hug her, I'm going to burst out crying. So let me just stay here at the back.
You speaking of crying, so one of my kids went up crying, because I know she was a tear up. But I think it's going through everything, and then I have my emotions, and I don't know, that's the thing, that's just the thing, because I look, and this is the reality of it, my body is the same, but it's also different.
Of course.
And there's moments where I look at my body in the mirror, and I'm like, I say, alhamdulillah, but I'm human,
Of
we're allowed to feel those ways, we can feel depressed, angry, sad, and all of those things, and I look at my body, and then I cry, and tomorrow I can't speak to you because I'm not in it. And then today I feel okay. I don't know how I'm going to feel tomorrow. So when I look at my body, and I also think of me now, saying does he think, even though he doesn't make me feel that way, I have a lot of things, but after that I'm not crying.
Alhamdulillah. I don't think that there is much more that I would personally would like to know, because I think that you guys answered questions that I think many of us would have liked to know. Or not just from you, about your life, but just in general, how do one with, being in that situation yourself, or how do you deal as a person from the outside looking, and how do you empathize and accommodate, the ones that are suffering in that moment? Because it's so easy for us to say, you in my du'as, but what you really actually need to know is how can you be of a support to that person. Alhamdulillah, I know that obviously you in contact frequently, and you check up on one another. I mean, we check up on each other also. And like Anisah said, not everybody's fortunate to have that structure in their life. I think that what I would like for society or for the viewers, that we look at things differently, and we appreciate, the people around us first, but also kind to one another, because I'm a stranger and I walk past just to say the condition that you're in now, or maybe even before, because we sometimes think that people who suffer from certain things are like scrawny and the unmaka and things, but it can be a normal. You can be a normal person walking past me, smiling at me, but I have no idea what you're going through. I have no idea. For example, you know, the cancer patient that you are. When I saw him, I did not think that there's anything wrong with him. Because I was waiting to see where is the individual that you were referring to. And then when I saw him, I thought, this person looks complete. Like, I did not think that it's this young man. He looks, you know, alhamdulillah, he looks healthy. But, you know, there's so much going on that nobody knows about. Essentially, like, we just have to be kinder to one another because we don't know whether we're going to break that person's, you know, whole spirit for what they are going through, and even, you know, that leads to them, you know, going afterwards. So, for that, I'm glad, and I say again, Shukran, that you've given us insight, because I've experienced myself where I've had an uncle with cancer, and he was the most outgoing person. He was literally the reason, like, my childhood was fun, because he was just, like, living life, and I always say to, like, his brothers now when we speak, and I say, yo, I miss that craziness. He would be, you know, come and go ride quad bikes, or let's go do this, let's go, you know, zip lining, or let's go do this or whatever. He was just that kind of person. And, you know, when he got sick, he actually got to that point where he was like the shell of himself that he used to be. And, you know, because I was young, I didn't understand what it is that he needs, or how do you support this person? How do you not, you know, because you feel awkward at one point. Because, like, what do you say to this person? Alhamdulillah, like, you know, we had a good life and he passed away with his cancer. But we don't remember that. I can say from myself, because I was very close with him, I don't remember that, like, that part of his life, like, in detail. I remember, like, fun uncle, like, when he used to take me as a, like, 2-year-old to the beach and drive away from the rest of the cousins while they're swimming. Like, I remember those things, and I can talk about those things. But, you know, I would have liked to understand how to have been supportive to him, like, in that time. And I think that so many of us don't know. And I know it's a lot later in life. I'm glad that, you know, we get to share these things. I don't know if it was just us, once again, going back to our parents and the generations before. They weren't as open, you know, with, like, these type of things. If, you know, someone was sick with, for example, cancer, you literally go visit them and they're on their deathbed, but you find out once like this, it's too late, you know what I mean? So I think it's very different now.
Anything, yes. Especially.
Yes.
Because that was a big thing, like near on your koppen.
Yeah.
But it's literally in my head.
It's easier, it's a mental illness.
Exactly.
That's what it
I think
is.
or even like divorces, you wouldn't know until you see the child is not living with the mom. There's financial problems, and you see they need to move in with mama.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like,
yes.
And nobody spoke about these things.
But now we are the generation.
Yes.
But it's good because
good.
we're helping the ones that is still there from back then.
Yes.
Yes, exactly that. Exactly.
I think the important thing, no matter what you're going through, is that communication. Yes, we show empathy, but just check up. I think you guys do it.
Yes.
Just checking up, sending that message every morning. Are you good? You don't
Yeah.
have to chat about the actual.
Yes,
You're just checking up on that person. I think Anisah is fortunate to have that experience from a lot of people. I think for people out there, if they want to help someone, just check up.
Just check up.
They will obviously, out of their own, say if they're not good or elaborate on whatever they want to speak about, but just that communication, keep it open.
That's so important. That really is so important.
Someone's going to ask you, I'm not doing well, do you have 100 rand for me?
Exactly.
If it's a financial problem, then maybe we can support
they might, but I mean, that's not the point of it.
That's not the point of it. But just check in, show that empathy. You might not know what to say. I mean, there was moments going back to our journey. There was times that I didn't know really what to say. I was just being present. I was in a space,
so
and that's it. And I told her, and she can vouch for this. I'm like, I don't know what to say, but I'm just going to be here. So.
Presence is so important, and a lot of people underestimate the power and the value of being present.
I think the last thing that I would just like add on by saying, my oncologist, when I now finally had the proper oncologist I wanted, he told me the first thing was like, Anisah, you know, I'll get you through with this diagnosis. He said it's not even like your surgery and your medication or your anything or working out. He said support. I look at him like this, support. He said, I can see you have great support with your husband, and I'm sure like your family, and because he kind of like knows some of my family, so he knew. Support gets you through because you've seen patients that don't have support and then spiral down, and that cancer eats on you. But the moment you have like people like yourselves, and also grateful that you called us on to come and chat with you guys. It means a lot to to us.
Yeah.
And I was excited. I'm like, no, I'm so excited they're coming. And like I mentioned at the event, one of the events we attended, that the two of you might have not been in my face 24/7, but you were present, you were there. Like I'm sure I've mentioned the two of your names to him. Like, no, Anisah said that. No, Anisah and I were chatting last night, whatever. It's just and not also reminding me of what's going on, like the normal things, how
Yes.
you
Yeah,
work, you
yeah.
know. I remember, I think
It's so good to bring some normalcy into a depressing
Yeah.
situation.
it was, I think it was 2-3 weeks ago, I actually spoke to Anisah and I told her there was a moment I felt iffy because there was around females that were speaking about, you know, like being bras and whatever, and I can't speak with because I now go to a different store. And then she told me and she brought me back to that sense.
Yeah.
And she said, but why not? You're still the same. You can still. And she gave me like a whole long list, and that just made me feel wholesome again.
Grounded
So
again,
like I was so grateful to the people that has really shown up and that has been there and that's still there and has never left my side. And like I said at the but yeah, very, very grateful for the always check-ins, and I don't need people to come and bring me, and that's what I told me, I don't need people to give me money or give me food or whatever. Just ask me like if I'm okay. Okay, fine.
Anisah's story reminds us that coloring outside the lines, it's not always about breaking the rules. Sometimes it's about breaking free from fear and limitations and the labels that people put on us. She's obviously a survivor, she's a builder, and a living example that resilience can create new paths, for where it might not have been the same, but yeah, she's gonna make me tear because she's tearing on that side. It says shukran again for sharing your journey with us. For me also, coming on board. I was very interested in what his journey was like also. And, it gives me as a man a newfound motivation and courage, because if he can be, that support to his wife and to, his household, we as males should take from that and try to do better and do our best, and also understand that it's okay sometimes to be vulnerable, because we have this stigma that we need to be hard and we need to be okay all the time, but it's okay sometimes to not be okay. And maybe once in 10, 20 years we break down, and then after that we go again. We're strong enough to take on the world. But it's okay for that one moment to just break down. And just take time for yourself. I think as males also, we need to take time for ourselves, where we sit back and just think, okay, you know what? Let me process all this thing that's going on in my head. Because we as men, I believe, you might agree with me, we like to deal with things on our own, inside of our head. We don't speak about it, we just deal with it. And then when we come out of that box of nothingness, then we're ready to take on the world again. So it's okay to just sit back sometimes and say, okay, I need some time for myself, where I need to do this, whether you do fishing, or like myself, personally I fish, because it brings me peace. But for someone else it's something different again. But it's also important for us as men to take that time for ourselves and, recalibrate ourselves, and then we're ready to take on life again, alhamdulillah. And speaking of that, we obviously come to the end of the episode. We spoke a lot of resilience and, what it means for a different person or someone else to color outside the box. In the next coming episodes, we've been fortunate enough that we are able to sit down with someone that's actually from Palestine. They are in Cape Town at the moment, they are working here. The individual, his journey has been somewhat of hardship. It was difficult for him obviously to get their papers and things, because they are doctors, but they weren't able to practice here because they weren't able to obtain their papers. to do so. Alhamdulillah, I've been informed that they are in a better space now where they are able to practice again in Cape Town in South Africa. So this is going to be a very interesting episode that is going to be coming up. And speaking of men also, we also need to have an episode where we'll focus on not mental breakdowns, but how important mental health is for males as well. And it's going to be very interesting what's going to be coming for the future episodes. But we want to tease you with the two of those, because I'm sure everybody will be interested to know what life is like for someone coming from the kind of lifestyle or world that they are currently facing, and for them to come and explain to us what it's like being on this side of the border now, and how it must be a different adjustment to living a life of somewhat normalcy. Because as we know, we see on media everywhere that the things that people are going through, the Palestinians, but everywhere where there's oppression. Recently we found out what's happening in Sudan, and it's insane, because there's only certain things that we see, but we don't get to hear the full story, or from someone's perspective that's actually there. So it's going to be very interesting to sit down with the individual. I'm not going to name him, obviously for his protection as well and things, but we're looking forward to having him on the show as well, inshallah. Then again, once again, just want to say shukran to Anisah and me for having us here today. It was lekker. Usually we come here to just sit and talk nonsense, but alhamdulillah, we had a great conversation today, and we're going to leave you guys with that and say assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Have a lekker day, be good, be safe, and stay out of trouble. Bye for now.
Oh, 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 oh.